Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Tonmir, by the way. What am I displaying? I don't know. Okay. How did I do this before? This was a little bit tricky because I had to put like Unity in a corner here. I can't expand it any more than that. Bullcrap, I can't. Yeah, I can. There we go. New glass. No, this is an old one. It's no, this is an old one. I change about though. You know, I wash them. I don't just, you know, use the same one. So you gotta kind of, you know, you gotta rotate them. So, anyway, welcome to a Unity stream, or a short Unity stream. It's not going to be too long today, but, I don't know, for those of you who are interested, what I'm working on right now. Well, Maze Quest 3 is what we're calling this game, although it's not really that related to Maze Quest 2. But my brother wanted to keep going with that name. So, hold on a minute. I'll show you what we're up to right now. So, this is the title screen, obviously, and this is what I've been working on for so long, is getting the collision detection, which has actually been quite tricky. In fact, I still have a problem with it. It's working more or less how it should, but there's a little quirk due to how I'm doing the collision detection. It's a little bit more complicated than you might think, or well, it's not really complicated, but it's tricky. Like Maze Quest 2 was like purely, you know, tile based. You moved by tile, one tile at a time. This one you move by just coordinates in the world. So you can see my coordinate up there, X, Y, and it's a fraction. It's got, you know, it's a floating point number instead of just a, you know, a flat number. And I can move, like, in between tiles and all this stuff. Oh, what did I do? Hold on. No, I'm fine. Okay. So that's... You know, that's not actually that hard, but the collision detection changes a little bit because all of a sudden you've got to basically figure out what, you know, what's in front of you, and basically what I do is I just take a radius of where I am. Hold on, let me turn that music down a little bit. That's a little bit distracting. This is Breath of Fire 4 music, by the way, for any of you who are curious. Anyway, yeah, I basically just take a radius, so I'm like here, right here at 6.52. Basically, I'm at tile 6, but I'm in the center of tile 6, so 6.5, let's say, and a little bit up on tile 13, 13.81 for the Y value. Basically, I just take a radius of, say, one tile around the character. I'm sorry, not a radius of 0.5. A half a tile around my character. So one full tile. So I basically just look completely around and see if anything intersects that radius. And if it does, I push myself kind of back to where I should be, you know. If I go over a little bit too far, I just automatically kind of push myself back to where my bounds should be. And that works so far so good. I've actually come up against a little problem here because of the way I calculate things. I've like sometimes you'll intersect like the you're checking like each coordinate. How do you get sounds for the game like Maze Quest 2? I actually Maze Quest 2 I did the sounds myself using either sounds that my brother had a bunch of sounds that he bought in like a sound pack, and then I also like there was some free sounds online. There's like a couple of sites where you can get just sounds that people just post for general use, and I took some of those and just modified them. So basically, it's not too hard. I mean, the sounds weren't that that high quality, but the music was done by Christopher Getman, who's actually a fairly well-known kind of game music composer. But anyway, you notice that the weird thing about this collision is I can go right in here, but I can't go in here. And there's a reason for that. It has to do with the order where I'm checking things. So each time I'm checking tile collision, I'm only checking in 2 axes, not all 4 axes at a time. And the reason you want to do that, I'll quickly show you the reason. And this kind of surprised me at how just how complicated this turned out to be. Where the heck was I here? Now, here we go. So basically it starts by, I just have a function to find all the obstacles within that radius. Or actually I do it within a certain, like for each direction, like up, down, left, right. I check for obstacles separately in each of those directions. And I get a list of those obstacles, which I bring over here. And then, yeah, I only check, like, if I check for obstacles to the right, I don't check, or to the right, I don't check them to the left. And if I check them up, I don't check them to the bottom. And if I check them to the bottom, I don't check them up. So I'm only checking in one direction, or 2 directions at a time. And that's because if I do that, then I'm going to catch on tiles, and that's really that's one of the problems that I had, was catching on tiles. In fact, let me see. I'm going to go ahead and remove this right here, and I'll show you what the catching looks like. It really sucks. So if like you have a wall upwards, you don't want to be checking like left or right for obstacles, because then you won't be able to slide along that wall. It was really like I said, this was it surprised me a little bit is how complicated this actually turned out to be just for basic tile collision on a on a tile map. So look, so yeah, now I'm having like because I could like normally I could slide along against that wall. Now I catch on it, and even I'll even be pushed out of bounds. And that's just basically I'm checking all directions at once. And if I'm near a wall, then this tile, say, if I'm near a wall and I want to like slide along this wall, I can't do it, because I'll be checking for this wall in the say the X direction, but also the Y direction. It'll tell me that I should be pushed up, because there's also an obstacle down here for the Y. And so that's why I only check in 2 directions at one time. And that's really all you need. There's no problem with just doing that, but yeah, you get this problem where you get like pushed out of bounds and stuff like that. So, but I still have one little issue, in that I can't move through that little obstacle course in that one direction, as you saw. Very, very puzzling, to be honest. Very puzzling. And I know what causes it, I just don't not quite sure how to fix it. But anyway, if you guys are wondering, this is going to be, I guess right now anyway, we're calling it Maze Quest 3. I guess my brother wants to go with that name, even though it's really a very different game. It's going to be a game more along the lines of, let's say, Secret of Mana or Gauntlet, in the sense that you have, you walk around and fight things real time. And you have, I guess we're saying, up to 3 party members. So 2 more people can like hire on to join you, and they will be AI controlled. You'll be able to switch to controlling one of them, but the other guys, if you're not controlling them directly, they will be AI controlled. So they will. It's kind of like I would probably equate it to kind of how Secret of Mana was, or or the game, the actual literal game that we're kind of basing it on is there's a game for the Sega Genesis called Shadowrun, and I was a big fan of that game. So was my brother, and so it's a bit like that in the sense of an RPG where you have combat in real time, and your people that join you, they fight with you in real time. And you could probably, we're probably obviously going to have some AI settings to kind of help control them a little bit. But I'm pretty excited. It's the first time I've ever done anything like this. And I'm looking forward to doing things like, getting the AI right. The AI is something that always, like, for these kind of games, is something that always intrigues me because, I did a pretty good job with the AI in Maze Quest 2. But real time is very different, You got to make it a lot faster because every frame, essentially, you have to have a lot of AI doing things, and so you really have to be efficient. Because, you're going to have enemies, you're going to have your party, you're going to have some NPCs walking around. So that's potentially a lot of AI calculations per frame. And I'm really curious to see how that goes. Anyway, this is the map. I can, let's see here. Let me change the map around a little bit. I should be able to just, I haven't tested this, but it should work. Now I should be able to just go ahead and make the map bigger. Let's make a little bit bigger map here. I made the map the size of the screen simply because I was testing, actually, the screen sizes. You notice the screen is kind of set to a portrait mode for, like, a mobile phone. So let's go ahead and paint a little bit more terrain. Or actually, yeah, the grass is a little bit strong. Oh, I also need to show off some of the scrolling stuff here. Maze Quest 2 did have, like, some parallax scrolling. It had plenty of parallax scrolling abilities, but it was really never used. And I could probably show that off here. Let's go ahead and just, I don't know, some forests, maybe? I'm using the Maze Quest 2's tile set right now because we don't yet have our own tile set for this game. I believe this should be fine. I should be able to put these down. These should be obstacles now. Yeah. That's fine. I'm not sure if this is set up for animation. Yeah, that's not set up for animation, so I'll put a chair. How about a chair? I'll have a chair right there. Maybe another chair right there. Okay, there you go. And I'm going to change... We're going to do a little parallax scrolling here. I'm going to show off the parallax scrolling a little bit. I'm going to have the front layer be do the parallax scrolling. We're going to have it put on... Come on, wrap X, wrap Y. That tells it that it's going to wrap around when it scrolls, so it doesn't stop at the edge of the map. The map just repeats, basically. Change this? No. So let's see here. What could I put as far as like something to scroll here? I could put some mountains. I'm seeing if we have maybe anything that's a little bit more. Yeah, let's put some mountains, I guess. So we'll just take these mountains here, and this overhead layer right here will scroll at a different speed than the ground layer. So it'll give a kind of an interesting effect, I guess. Although it's, you know, mountains aren't really the correct thing to be using for this layer. You can see this with like clouds and stuff, and I do have clouds, but I'm gonna delete that. Yeah, I do have clouds, but I don't really like. I don't want to put clouds here because we already have a layer with clouds. Okay, so this is it. Size, speed X, speed Y. Okay, so those are the let's see, copy, paste. Okay, so it'll speed at 1.5 in the X direction, and let's say 1. Let's say actually 0.5 in the Y direction. So when I go down, it'll scroll at half speed. When I go across, it'll scroll at a 50% faster speed. And I don't know. Let's see this if this works. This should work. Or it might crash. I don't know. I haven't actually tested it. I haven't actually tested it since changing the map. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, yeah, there you see. So there's the scrolling layer, the parallax scrolling. As you can see, when I move up or down, it scrolls at about half the speed that the ground layer does. When I move right or left, then it starts scrolling much faster. So, and yep, this seems to have no problems with this map here. So, cool, huh? And of course, at the top, there's still the auto-scrolling layer, which is the clouds. That's again just testing these features out here. Another thing to note is I tried to play around a little bit with the Unity's got like a pixel perfect camera. I was having trouble with I thought that I was having some jitters in the map movement, and I thought it maybe was because I didn't have pixel perfect movement. I later found out it was something else, but I was really perplexed on this, so I actually went ahead and I tried out Unity's new pixel perfect camera, which is supposed to enforce pixel accuracy. Yeah, mountains in the sky. Well, yeah, just for testing. So it's interesting. You turn it on, and it changes a lot of things. Though, is the problem? Is it readjusts like the size of everything? So I'm not sure if I actually have it turned off because of that. Yeah, or actually, well, maybe not. Maybe it's no, actually, that looks like the size is correct. I was having issues with that. But anyway, it turns on pixel snapping. I'm not actually sure in terms of quality if it's really doing too much. Let me see that maximized again. So it's just something that you attach to the camera, and it just works automatically. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I run it in full screen, and it's... I guess that's... Yeah, so it has an issue with resizing. So I don't think that's going to be a good thing to do, because we're going to have to, like, we're going to resize the graphics for the PC version for sure. So that's not going to be a thing. So that's what it is. It forces that to be, you know, in this case, the tile size is 20 by 20. So it forces that no matter what, like, resolution you're running at. And that's probably not a good thing. Because when I put the PC's version on, it's going to have to be, you know, be able to support multiple resolutions. Anyway, I was having a really interesting, like, problem earlier where and this took me a long time to figure out. I literally went to the extreme of recording a video and going through it frame by frame to see exactly what the problem was. And it turns out it was skipping frames, or it was skipping a frame, which looked like it was jittering because of that. It looked like, you know, you'd see the thing scroll and then it would jump. And it was just very subtle, but you could catch it with your eye. It was really annoying. And I couldn't figure out why. I was like, well, maybe something in my functions, my, you know, calculation for scrolling the map, something's wrong there. And I ended up, like, after a lot of hassle, I ended up actually going back and looking at a, you know, recorded video, stepping through it frame by frame, and I saw literally the frame just skip a frame, and I'm like, oh crap, it just skipped a frame. That's what's causing it. What do I do about that? I loaded it on my phone, and there was absolutely no such skip, and so I figured that it was my computer for some reason. So that's, yeah, I guess just maybe my computer was skipping frames for some reason. I'm not sure why. Actually, not very noticeable. I'm not even sure if it happens anymore for some reason. Since I've worked on the engine a little bit more, it seems to have either gone away or I can't notice it anymore. But anyway, well, I now probably have to, well, I still have to fix that issue. So you can go, let's see here, it's from the right, you cannot go through this little square here, which you can from the left. And literally the reason why you can do this is because, see, if I try to go through the left exactly dead on, which is kind of hard with this control, because yeah, it's very hard to do, but you can do it. I'd have to make another control for it. But basically, if you were to go on there dead on, then you wouldn't be able to go through there because, hey, David, it's going pretty good. If you were to go at like straight without going up or down at all, then you wouldn't be able to do it simply because in the code it basically checks the direction that you're going. Or actually, maybe you could. I don't know. But the reason why you can go through here is actually because if you go up or down a little bit, then it'll stop checking the left-hand side for blockages, and so you should be blocked here normally. But yeah, you wiggle the control a little bit and you can get through because, you know, now you're not checking those left or right hand blockages because you go up and that negates those blockages. It's best I can describe it. But when you go for the right, it's not the same thing because of the way the code works. Because the first thing it does is check the right hand side. Hey, Anthony. First thing it does is check the right hand side, and then right in the code here. So it checks the right hand side for objects, and then if it finds something, then it'll completely delete the up or down objects. So from the right hand side, you can never have a situation where you go where you get into that up or down value where it'll it'll ignore the blockages to the right hand side. That's probably really confusing how I explained it, but I don't know. If anyone wants a bigger explanation, let me know. But how to fix that? That's the question. Because that's kind of silly if you can't do something equally from all directions. It's a little bit silly. Also, by the way, how do you guys like my little controller here? This is, you know, supposedly how we're going to do it for the phone is we're going to have like a little joystick on the actual phone, and you just push it, you know, and it kind of like, if you push it a lot, or if you push it far up here, then it moves a lot. That reminds me, there's actually something else I want to check real quick. I want to see if I up the speed, if you can actually pass through obstacles. In theory, you should be able to. So the move by value here is 0.2. If I up that to say 2, I want to see if you could jump through obstacles. You should, in theory, be able to do so if I up it enough. Because basically, it only checks for obstacles after you've moved. So because you usually move in very small increments, each frame, then you can never move far enough that you'd literally hop over an obstacle before it actually checks to see if you hit an obstacle. But if I up that enough, I think you should be able to. Let me see that. A lot of exploits in games that you'll see in like speedrunning are taking advantage of, you know, the quirks and collision detection in these kind of games. So, oh yes, yep, yes you can. Yeah, you see, what's going on is I'm literally kind of warping over the things because I'm moving so fast. So, yep, okay. I'm just curious, like, how far you can up that before that becomes an issue. Let's try it, put it at 1. Because we will want probably things to move at different speeds here. So if I put it at 1, which is about 5 times the value of kind of like what I had it at, is that still too much, or how far can we go with that is the question. It's kind of important. Yeah, no, we can still do it at 1. Whoa. Alright, give me... Okay, come on. Now I should be able to... I can't get back! Okay, never mind. Alright, so 1's too much. Let's try 0.5. That's 2.5 times what we had it at. Let's see if we can get away with that without warping through things. Now, it looks like that's okay. I did get a dog, yeah. There was a stray dog, apparently, and my girlfriend's kids wanted to keep it, so... Yeah, whatever. It's good to have a dog around here to just, like, bark at people if they, were to say hop over your wall or something like that. Oh, look at this! Oh, I think I know what's happening. Oh, we're literally... I think I know what's happening there. I think we're literally hopping over the boundary and getting pushed back is what we're doing. This is what I suspect is happening right there. Although it doesn't happen over to the right. I live in Guatemala. Oh, is there a reason to check for obstacles through code instead of using colliders? Ah, yeah. Well, that's a good question, actually. They named it Lisa, Guadium. Yes, there is, Tama. Basically, okay, so Unity does have a collider system. In fact, I could probably... Hold on, I could probably put that on in the editor. Now, let's maximize the screen, because it's kind of a tiny screen right now. Well, let me maximize the screen. I could probably... Yeah, Unity does have their own collision system. Here's the thing, though. It's a little bit more than I actually need. And if I were to have that implemented for, like, my entire maps, which could be pretty large, it would probably... Jabarkus is... That's a great name, yeah. It would probably drag the whole frame rate down a lot. I don't really need a physics system is the thing. Yeah, I got it, Narrowcast Boxing. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, if I were to, like... Okay, so, here, let me see. We definitely got an ability to easily add some things from the physics system. Let's see, where are my units? There's one. Yeah, we can, I think we just add a component right here. So, we've got, is it mesh? No, it's in physics. Here it is. Physics. Okay, so we got like a basic like box collider, or actually, where's a circle collider? Where is it? Box collider? Sphere collider? I don't want a sphere collider. It's not 3D. That's interesting. Okay, well, okay, fine. Box collider then. Okay, so here it is right here. Let's see. Let's see if we can see it here. Yeah, here it is. So there's my collider. Yeah. Yeah, they do. A crossover for Heroes of Might Magic 3 and Civ 4. Well, I'll get to that eventually, Tiforma. Yeah, here's my box collider, so I could just add that. I believe... Let's see here. I'm not sure. I actually haven't worked with colliders in Unity. I've worked with them in other engines, but let me go ahead and put a collider on one of these tiles right here. Let's see here. We would be on. Oh, it's not quite so simple, but I can still do it. We could still put. Let's just go ahead and see. I'm actually not using individual tiles. I'm using meshes to make the map. It's not magic. It's anything but magic. Let's see. 2D object. Let's just get a 2D object wherever. Put them on. Let's say the GUI layer. Just put a. I don't know. Do that. I see him. Okay. He needs to be moved up. Let's put a collider on that guy. Oh, there it is. Physics 2D. That's where I should have had. That's where the circle collider was. Okay. Box collider 2D. Let's go on the thing. Okay. I'm not sure if I can actually run into that guy now. Well, that's right. Okay. That's not going to be that simple because how I'm using the map, how I'm moving the map is different. But anyway. Okay, yeah, I could do that. I could use Unity's own colliders. Here's the problem. Okay, so I could do it like where everything in this window, like when I basically how I'm doing loading the map is not like the traditional way of loading the entire map in the memory. I'm loading just a part of the window, and I'm changing the graphics based on where you are in the world. See, here's actually the game objects that I have loaded. It's actually just these meshes with which I paint out the map based on where you are. And the reason I do that is because it's faster. And Pope came to visit Bulgaria. Every channel is showing it. Cool, dude. So I don't have the entire world in the Unity engine, right? I have the map in my own files in memory, but the Unity engine itself, like normally, if you were to use their physics engine, you'd probably have like the entire map here. Your window to it would be right here, and the entire map would be here. And then you could detach those, Unity objects like the colliders to all the stuff that you wanted to collide with. So I could still do that. I could still put the colliders, just on the screen based on what I had here. But then I'd only have collision for what's on the screen. Like if I were to shoot a projectile and it would go like maybe 2 screens out, then it would not have anything to collide into because they're, the colliders that I would set up would just be for what's on the screen. So that's one reason I'm not doing it. If I were to make like, put the whole map into memory or put the whole map into Unity objects and then put colliders on all those Unity objects, that would probably be very taxing on the engine itself, and I'd probably have a pretty poor frame rate for this type of maps, like the size and scale of maps that I want. Hey, Yez. So that's why I don't do that. And I don't really need the physics of, say, the Unity Collider or Unity Physics Engine either, because it's not going to be something where I'm going to have like a lot of stuff bouncing around. You know, for instance, I did one game with Cocos 2D and also Sprite Kit, and you know, it was like that type of physics that I had available there that I used there is kind of overkill. Like you had objects with a certain mass, and you know, you put forces on them in one direction or the other, and they you know, they move based on those forces. That's all really overkill for the type of game that we're doing here. Although it is going to have, you know, some physics, but nothing really complicated. So, you know, keep it clean. I really want to focus most of my cycles on AI. So not really physics, but yeah, most of the processor time I want going to, you know, things like AI and stuff like that. Anyway, so this is still doing this down. It's funny it's doing it down here. I wonder if it's really kind of interesting. So let's dial the speed back a little bit to 4. Kind of curious here. I'm going to see if I still have that problem. That's another interesting quirk that I just found, and I'm not quite sure even why that's doing that. I have a theory, but hey, Tonmir. Let's see if we do that still. Oh, we do! And it looks like it's even worse. That's really weird. I think maybe I know why that's happening. Let me see. That's okay. That's not me bouncing out of bounds and bouncing back. That's for sure. But anyway, at this speed, everything else seems okay. We're not like warping through any walls at this speed. And this is probably, I think, as fast as you'd ever want to move in the game anyway. It's almost uncontrollable at this speed. So that's good. That's good news because, yeah, it's never going to run. We're going to lock the frames at 60 FPS, so I can always be assured that this is not going to screw anything up if people move this fast in the game. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Let's go ahead and edit that map again. Maybe take off that layer. To go ahead and edit the front layer so it's not scrolling like that anymore. Maybe on the front layer, maybe just put some clouds or something. We got a really big cloud right here we could put there. And we can actually slow down the front layer again. I would say 1.25. 1.25 to be consistent. Let's try that. Yes, I've developed, let's see, 1, 2, 3 mobiles. Well, released 3 mobiles. I've actually developed a few more than that weren't, you know, kind of stuck in development. That's very weird. Those clouds look very weird. Yeah, I have. I've been doing a lot of mobile development, actually. Very, very weird looking, those clouds, when you do that. I'm gonna become a millionaire? Well, God, I certainly hope so. It hasn't happened yet, but I wouldn't be opposed to becoming a millionaire. I don't know. There's a lot of competition. You got to realize, like, the gaming market is so saturated right now because, well, primarily because of things like Unity. Like, anybody can make a game now. So, not necessarily a good game, but, like, getting exposure now amidst the huge number of games is kind of hard. That's probably the biggest issue, is just getting exposure. Okay. There's my chair. Yeah, 38. Yeah, exactly. It's just especially the mobile game market is just so saturated. And okay, it also does that to the left. That's also interesting. So to the right and up does not do that. Yeah, change my name to Blizzard. Yeah, yeah, that would work, wouldn't it? Yeah, that's right, Tom. That's pretty much how it is. It's just the flood of games. I mean, it's like every year it gets a little bit harder and harder because like every year there's more and more games released. So anyway, but yeah, that looks pretty good. So we got a few issues here, but at least we got this, the basics, and I'm pretty happy with what I've got as far as the collision detection as a start. So it's going to be very interesting to add the AI. That's one thing I'm looking forward to is trying to get like the AI. I really always like those. Like if you guys play Secret of Mana, say, that was a fun game just to play by yourself because you had these two like AI controlled characters. It felt like you were playing with other people, even though they were kind of stupid. But like that's something that I find kind of intriguing to work on, and I'm really gonna enjoy working on that. Um, it's not my first time programming AI, but it's definitely my first time programming that kind of AI in real time at that level. Because there's other things like map movement for the AI controlled characters. Because I have it as a tile-based game, the simplest way to do it would be to have them, move by tiles essentially, rather than move by individual pixels. So if they wanted to move from here to here, they would just line up, a bunch of tiles to move to, rather than just, going in a straight line or something. Secret of Mana was really cool. Yeah, that's kind of like what I envision for, the kind of the party system. Like you have 3 characters max, and you can control one. The computer controls the other 2. Except in this version, you can hire, you'll have NPCs to kind of hire and fire, so you don't have to have the same 3 NPCs or the same 3 characters. You can pick and mix and match what you want your party to look like as far as the characters. But kind of similar in terms of the combat, except this is probably going to be a little bit, like the combat's probably going to be a little bit more similar to Gauntlet. In the sense that you're probably going to be shooting most of the time because there's guns. It's kind of like a Western theme. And so it's probably going to be a lot of shooting and, kind of combat at ranged most of the time, probably. Another thing is that there's some tricky stuff like with this type of game, and say if you have AI party members that follow you, and that's kind of, they can get stuck on things. Like you might move over here, and of course there's a path to move over here, but maybe like in some cases the path might be blocked, like another character's in their way. Or you might have a map where you have stuff moving around, and like at one particular point they actually might get blocked. You got to figure out what to do in those cases. Like, do you just warp them to to wherever you are? That's probably the best thing to do. Or do you just have them wait there until they can move, or what? It's kind of tricky. You saw this in like things like Secret of Mana. Obviously, you saw that. You also saw it in Diablo 2 with the mercenary and stuff. Like, they get caught on stuff. There's not really too much you could do about it either. It's just kind of how it is. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to messing around with that kind of thing. And also, I want to finally use some of the parallax scrolling abilities that I've had in this engine since Maze Quest 2. The ability to, have different layers. Actually, I can make as many layers as I want, and all of those layers I can set a different scroll speeds. So you'd have kind of cool things like, you know, you used to see in like the Super Nintendo and Genesis games, like, you know, they'd have a background, and that background would like move a little bit slower than the foreground, and it gave you the impression of like distance. I'd like to do some things like that, really, in some levels. Kind of looking forward to, you know, playing around with that. As you can see, it works fine. I've already got it set up. We just need to design the levels to have that feature. And the tricky thing, though, is going to be kind of the controls, I think, because, yeah, parallax scrolling, yeah. The tricky thing is going to be the controls, because my brother wants to just have one control. Well, like one, he wants it to be one-handed, and I'm not sure how that's probably going to have to be revised, that plan, because I'm not sure how you would even do that, but we're going to try it that way. We're going to try some kind of scheme where you can try and use one button. I'm not sure if it's going to work, though. Oh yeah, they what? Well, I can actually change that right now, by the way. Where's my map? There it is. So element, there it is right there. Yeah, I can change that right now. So the what is it? The front scroll layer. Yeah, I have a brother. I can't change it to 1 point to full crap. Oh, I know why. It moves by pixels. Let's try that. There we go. They're a little slower now. He's a little bit younger than I am. That's as slow as you can actually make it right now. It moves at 1 pixel a tick. Yeah. I have it moved by pixels. I could have made it move by, you know, subpixels. I could have made it move by 1.5 pixels. So one tick it would move 1 pixel. The other tick it might move 2 pixels. The other, frame ticket might move, 1 pixel again. But I don't have that built in right now. Maybe I should. Yeah. What's the other thing? Oh wow, I almost got out of there. I thought I did. Oh yeah, there you go. I shouldn't be able to do that. You definitely should not be able to do that. That's... Oh wow, I just kind of bounced through, huh? Interesting. Wow, and I bounced through again. Wow, dang. I wonder if I could do that on, when I'm not at the edge of the map. Hey, Nick. Good to see you, too. So I'm trying to find some more bugs in my collision detection here. So far, it just looks like the edge of the map is causing the issue. Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, I can't seem to find any other issues. The other thing is the edges. Sometimes the edges are a little funky. Like, you might walk over the edge. You might walk on a certain part of the edge and you get snapped back. It doesn't happen too often, but edges are always tricky. Oh, I should have said frame. It's tick, engine tick, frame. Yeah, per frame. I don't know why I said tick. Yeah, it's yeah. No, the edges aren't actually that bad, but sometimes you will notice some. You'll notice this is other games too. When you kind of like get close to an edge, like when you move down, say like right here, and you just move on certain part of the edge, you'll get kind of like warped a little bit. That's due to the collision detection, how they implemented it. Mine does that too. I know why it does that. But it's not really that big a deal. It doesn't seem to be all that noticeable anyway. Anyway, so it's weird. I wonder why that's... Interesting. So it's only those edges. Never happens... Yeah, it's only the map, edges of the map. It never happens anywhere else. Ah! Just literally went outside the map. Okay, so I'm going to have to fix that. Whoa! So how do I get back in? Oh, okay. How did I... Whatever. There's certainly an explanation for why that happened, but it's still a little bit perplexing. I can't do it over here, though. No. Only on the bottom and the left-hand side of the map, so it definitely has something to do with what what's happening in the code. It's interesting. Like I said, this is the collision detection was, you know, I thought it was simple, and I definitely it's not as simple as I originally thought. That's for sure. Yep, can't do it over there. Well, anyway. So move by of 0.4 seems to be okay. I think what I did 0.5 and it was too much. Was that it? Let me test that again. I want to make sure I know like the maximum values I can get away with here. Because like I said, there should probably be a case where you can speed up the player movement a certain certain amount by, say, items or abilities or whatever. So we want to see like... No, I think actually 0.5 was okay. 0.5 didn't go through walls either. Yeah, if I crank it up there... No, I'm not warping through anything at 0.5. I didn't put as many like Easter egg type stuff as I thought I should. I only have really a few secrets in that game, Ed. There's a couple of places like if you see like a tree that looks like it's got cherries on it, you can move through that tree. And so, the game is called Maze Quest 3, at least for now. My brother wants to go with that title, so I don't know if because it's it's going to be so different that I don't really know if we still want to go with that name, but that's what we're calling it for now anyway. It's his call on that though, so yeah, if you see any cherry trees like this in Maze Quest 2, then you can walk through those, and that's you know there'll usually be something behind it that you can get, and that's really the only secrets I had. I have my cat as an item? Are you sure? Really? I don't know. Maybe I do. It's been so long since I named the items that maybe yeah, I might have an item named after my cat. I don't remember. But yeah, I'm not walking through any walls at 0.5. Actually, let's go to 0.6 and see if that's where it happens. Oh, it's a sick bow. Oh, okay. Yeah, alright. Actually, let's go to 0.75. 0.75 and see if that warps you through walls or not. Sirenita, yeah, okay, yeah, alright. I do remember naming a bow after her, yeah. Okay. Alright, I'm still not warping through anything. So, 0.6 is okay. I guess it would make sense if I cranked it up to over 1, because that would be, what, one tile space? And therefore anything that was one tile space I should be able to warp completely through if I had it that high. But 0.6 is okay. This is a little bit uncontrollable, though. I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to actually control it. It doesn't matter because this is actually way too fast for the player to control anyway, so we'd never wanted to crank this up this high anyway, so... yeah, so this is not even an issue, and even at this speed we're not warping through walls, so we're fine. Have you guys ever seen, like, a Zelda playthrough, a Zelda on the original Nintendo, where somebody like gets hit and then that hit pushes them back, and they stand next to a wall. They get hit, they get pushed back, and they warp through the wall. That's because of the collision detection is apparently turned off when you're getting hit in Zelda for some reason. So people use that to kind of warp through walls in games like Zelda. That's actually, you know, that's a thing with a lot of games. Because they didn't really have a physics system, they just had kind of a hard-coded collision detection that you know, had issues. But anyway, that's kind of what's going on over here, where I can walk through my own wall. Okay, so that's way too fast, though. But you could crank it up that far and still be safe. I would say point... Let's see, I had 0.2. Let's try it at point... Let's try it really slow. Let's try it at 0.1. Okay. That's probably annoyingly slow, to be honest. Just a little bit faster than that would be, I think, an ideal starting speed, perhaps. But there don't seem to be any issues having it that slow, anyway. Cool. Okay. Yeah, too slow. I'd say 1.5 is probably the minimum. Or, not 1.5, 0.15 is probably the minimum. Unity does have their own tiling system. The issue is, though, it's more for, like, making static levels. I prefer to design my levels in tiled, the program tiled, and then load them in. I don't really kind of prefer to, like, design my tile sets or my maps in Unity itself. I think Unity is more for programming. Also, I like to have, again, I like to have the whole map accessible in the code, you know, and have it very minimalistic. There's only, like, each tile is only represented by one 16-bit integer. So it just has the number of the tile from the tile lookup table, and that's all it is. Whereas Unity, with its tiled components, is probably going to be storing a lot more information than that. Therefore, you're going to have, like, you know, it's going to become memory intensive at some, you know, some point. I'm not sure, actually. It's been a while since I looked at the Unity tile kit thing. Hold on a minute. I think what you've got to do is you've just got to add... Ah, here we are. Yeah, a tile map. You just add a tile map right here. I actually did this a while back. And then you just basically, you paint. You basically do, oh god, you have to make a brush. Forgot how you did it. There was something, oh, window? 2D. Tile palette, there it was. Create new palette. Okay, create new palette. Just put it on the desktop. Alright, select folder, whatever. Create a new palette in the drop-down above. Thought I did create a new palette. Maybe not? Select folder. Well, anyway, I did it at one point. Anyway, you just paint on the tiles. I've done it, and it's fine, But like I said, I like to load in. I like to dynamically dynamically create my maps. Sometimes I like to be able to just load in maps from tiled. I like more control. Basically, I'm kind of a control freak. I don't know what Unity's doing with the tile map information behind the scenes. I don't know how much how memory intensive it is. There's a lot of unknowns there. Probably has to be in my project folder. I don't know. Maybe. All right. But anyway, that's that. Yeah, you can literally paint on. I've done it, and it's basically exactly the same as what I'm doing with the the different tile meshes. It looks exactly the same. So there's no advantage to doing it that way. The advantage to doing it my way is a lot less memory used, and I've got everything at my fingertips. I've got all the information. I don't have to work through Unity's system, and and it's funner. I don't know, something satisfactory about doing things yourself in this case. I have complete control over everything, and I know what's going on everywhere. Because my actual tile map, or my actual map that I'm loading in here, is basically this. It's got an info, a list of info event stuff that can happen, or that you can load in. But the actual tile information is right here. This is all it is. It's just a short, or a 16-bit integer, and that's for each tile. It's just a 16-bit integer. So I make a map of let's say here. Does Unity make it workable on all mobile operating systems? Oh, well, basically what happens is I build for, different systems. I build one for PC through Unity. I say build for PC, or I say build for, iPhone, or build for Android. Yeah. Yeah, save development time if I do anything. Yeah, non-standard. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I like that. Control over things like that. But, at 16-bit... integers. So if I wanted to have a map of 1,000 by 1,000, it's what, 100 and, let's see. No, it's 1,000,000. It's 1,000,000 bytes. I mean, that's a huge map. That is a really, really big map, and there's probably no way you'd want a map that big. But nevertheless, if I wanted to do it, it's only 1 megabyte. Hey, mate. Legendary gamer, yeah. And hopefully legendary developer at some point. Yeah, so, really, the reason that... Actually, I could make it even smaller. I could have the size if I wanted to use a byte, but then I'd be limited to 256 tiles, and I think we might want a little bit more than that just to be safe. So... but really, that's it. There's a slight amount of overhead on each map. I've got some little stuff, or each layer. Actually, I shouldn't say that's a megabyte for 1,000 by 1,000, because there's several layers. So you got to times that by however many layers. Some of the layers don't use the scrolling effect, like the clouds. That's not the full size of the map, so that's not going to use that many. But anyway, there's at the very least, there's a tile, a bottom tile layer, then there's an object layer that's got stuff like the trees and stuff. Then there's one more layer over that's got things that go over the player. And then there's maybe a background layer, maybe a foreground layer. Those probably aren't full size. So it's actually going to be more than that. But nevertheless, you get the idea. Even a map of 100 by 100 is a huge map, by the way. You're scrolling through that for a long time, and that's going to be, let's say times 5, just to make it simple. That's going to be 5,000 or 50,000 bytes, which is nothing. Yeah. Whereas, like I said, if I used Unity's system, I don't really know. It's kind of like a big question mark. In fact, the Unity build for an iOS, the Unity iOS build is strangely enormous. Like, you'll make the PC version and it'll be like maybe like 30 megabytes. Then you'll make the iOS version and it'll be like 200. There's no real explanation for why. Oh yeah, I could. Yeah, that's true, Axel. Yeah, I could have different like tile sets per map. That's true. Yeah, that's probably like if I was really worried about space and really wanted to have big maps, that would be one way to go. I'm not really that worried about that yet, anyway. So, and it would take a little bit more. It's actually not a bad idea because it wouldn't take that much time to do. But in this case, I don't think it's worth the hassle at this point. But yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could definitely make it a byte and just use like, switch between different palettes depending on what type of map I was loading in, or different tile sets. But I'm happy to work with just one tile set right now for the whole thing. If any of you guys are interested, the tile set is right here. I can just load it up in. It's really tiled. When it prints out a file, it does it in text for some reason, which actually I prefer to load it in via bytes because it would, or binary because it would be a little faster. But they do it. They do it in. I guess it's HTML is what we're working with here. So we just load this in. This is the animation for the chest right here. Oh, really? Yeah, that's probably, yeah, they really had to save space on those early games, so yeah, they used like I've seen more complicated stuff than that. I've seen like it's going as far as taking like tile patterns of tiles, like tiles arranged in different patterns, and calling that, giving that like an index and loading that in to make an actual to make it like say a room or something like that. You have patterns of tile sets that say represents like a fireplace or something like that. And to save space, because they had so little space on those cartridges, they do things like that. They'd say, okay, let's just take this pattern of tiles, call it, pattern number 2 or something. Yeah, tile chunks, and just put it there, reuse it. Oh my god. It was insane. Like, there was, I think I liked a video where, I think there's this company that literally made a Nintendo game, and they used, the physical limitations of, Nintendo games at that time, and just they went through a list of these optimizations that they did, and they made a really nice looking game. And I was like, my jaw was dropping just looking at the crazy stuff they did to try and save space there. It was unbelievable. That was one of the things they did. In fact, they even went so far. Not only did they have patterns of tiles like tile chunks, they also went so far as to have like rooms, patterns of rooms and stuff like that you run into. It was crazy. It was crazy, but yeah, people had to be really clever back then. I think, there's still some call for that today, because, the more space I can save with this game, the bigger I can make everything, the more efficient I make, the AI or whatever, the more frame cycles I can save with things like AI, the better I can have the AI, this sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, well, it's kind of over my level too, but I mean, I know some of that stuff, but thank God we don't have to worry too much about that anymore. Those were the days when it was actually hard to be a game developer. But anyway, right here you see the tile ID is 10. That's the chest tile ID, and the frames. It has frame 1, duration of 1 second, basically, 1,000 milliseconds. And then it goes, after 1 second, it goes to very quickly to tile 11, 12, and 13, and that gives you that flash animation on the chest. That's what that is right there. Excuse me, right there. And actually, whoops, what am I doing? Let's open up the actual map itself, and you can see how it's stored. It's actually not that complicated either. So this is the, you know, holy crap. Kids screaming over there. So this is the actual, tile data right here. 44444, you know, so that's the actual tile index. So that's the actual map right there, one of the layers of the map. This is the tile layer. So I actually load in, you know, several layers, and you know, the object layer right there, that's basically got the trees and the chest and the mountains and whatever else is there. Then the front layer, I don't use that too much, but that's actually the clouds in this case. The front layer is for things like, if you guys have seen, you know, the old console games where, you know, a player, like, it's top down, and there'll be like a tree, and the player moves in front of the tree, like in front of the tree trunk, and he'll be able to move over that tree trunk, so it looks like he's moving in front of the tree. But then if he moves, like, say, in the back of the tree, and he moves, and as he moves, the like, the leaves they're in front of him. So to do that, you need 2 layers. You need 1 layer for the trunk. The trunk is on a layer below the player. Hey, Nixai. But the leaves are on a layer that's above the player. So, hey, love you too, man. So when you move back, what should be like moving in back of the tree, it looks like you're moving in the back of the tree because the tree layer, the leaves are over you. But to do that, you need 2 layers. So that's what the front layer is for, is to have, like, say, the leaves. It's anything that should go over the player. Thanks, I will. And so that's why I have the front layer. That's what it's supposed to be there for special cases like that. And then the what I call the front scroll layer, that's for things like the moving clouds. The codes for Maze Quest 2? No, these are just, this is the map. This is a map that I'm opening up in WordPad, and this is literally what it looks like as far as the information. Yeah, that's another good example. Yeah, the beds. So the blankets that you were supposed to go under, they would be on another layer that was on top of the sprite layer. Yeah, that's a good example. So it looked like you were actually going into bed. Yeah, the front scroll layer, and I also have a back scroll layer, but I don't. It's not on this map because I'm not utilizing it. But the back scroll layer would be for, like, you know, you have like that background that's slowly moving. In fact, let me go. Let me actually make that real quick. It's not really hard to make. I'll show you guys what I mean. Back scroll layers are really cool. How's MO1 going? It's actually on the back burner right now because I've got this game here I've got to get through. But I think after this game, then I might have a little bit more clout with my brother to actually maybe convince him to I don't know. Either one, I'll have a little bit of money where I can set aside some time for it, or maybe I can convince my brother to maybe fund that for a little while, long enough to maybe get a Kickstarter going. Time limit on this game is for development time. I'm hoping to move pretty fast. I'm hoping like maybe 6 months, and I mean I'm terrible. It's so horribly hard to predict, but I'm thinking because I've got so much already there in terms of like the engine that I'm bringing over from Maze Quest 2, and you know, got a lot of the stuff already done. I'm thinking we can really, really go quick on this one. Maybe like, you know, 5 to 6 months would be beautiful if we could get it done that fast. I'm really hoping for really fast development time. So, because I want to, like I said, I want to get on to, well, I really want to get on to some other stuff. I mean, I like this. I like the idea of doing this, but, you know, you only have so much time in this world, and I'd also like to do some other things, too. 6 months, yeah. Yeah, because, I mean, like I said, I'm not learning Unity for the first time anymore. And, I think, I really think I can go a lot faster on this one this time. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete some of this tile layer. Like, make big gaps in the floor, basically. Hold on. Background scroll layer. Oh, okay, that's just clouds. Oh, yes, okay, that's that. Alright, I see. Alright. So this is what we have for the background scroll layer. I'm going to change that a little bit. Let's put some lava. Oops, wrong layer. Let's put a little bit of lava in here. One, two, three, four. How big is this? This is 11 by 11, so I'm going to change the size to 11 by 11. Move X. No, we don't want to. We want that 0. No, I'm going to delete Move X, actually. We don't need that. Scroll speed is 0.5. 0.5. Wrap X, wrap Y. Okay. Let's try that. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. That's not going to work out because I don't have enough gaps in the floor. You're not going to be able to see it. So let's go ahead and do... Yeah, let's go ahead and just break the floor up a bit. So this'll have that that background kind of show through wherever that I have, or at least in theory. I don't know. We haven't tested this. Let's test this right now. Okay, there we go. That should be enough. So this was a really cool effect on, you know, the old consoles. I love this effect. Okay, yeah, okay. Problem is, did I box myself in? Yeah, so you can kind of, it's not a great effect because there's not really enough variation on that tile, but you can see it through. It kind of looks like I'm moving over lava. It would be better if it was animated, though. But you can see that it's scrolling at a slower speed than the layer which I'm moving on, so it makes it look like it's far in the background. I could even go so far as to have it scroll itself, which would create an even more interesting effect. So that's working very well. Also could use this engine to make a shooter if I wanted to. It would work really well for a shooter, like a shoot 'em up. Let me see if I can put some more variation on this tile, on this background here. This will look a bit bizarre, though. I think it's 9 by 9, right? Yeah, it's probably 9 by 9 now, so let's change that to 9 by 9. We can make it even smaller. It doesn't really have to be that big. Probably the longest part of this development is going to be the art. Oh yeah, there we go. So that looks kind of weird. Very cool though. Very cool. It all's working pretty nicely. It's pretty solid, the engine so far. Very versatile too. Yeah, it looks like Indiana Jones a little bit, doesn't it? I don't remember the arcade game, though. I remember the Super Nintendo games. That's got kind of cool look, though. We've got some line issues, though. This is not. I think this is. I know why this is. It's because yeah, this doesn't show up when I run the game in like normally it's just in the editor, but we've got some there's some lines that shouldn't be there. This has to do with the editor though. Like that those lines shouldn't be there. But it's running I'm running it in the editor, so there's a slight offset there. Yeah. Floating around, yeah, it's cool. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with like parallax scrolling that's fun to watch. Even though we have all these, cool 3D games now, still the parallax scrolling thing is still pretty neat. 2D parallax scrolling is still cool to look at. Anyway, oh yeah, that's right. I can't go through there. I need to fix that. And we still have the issue where I'm bouncing, right? Even at this speed, yeah, we still have the bouncing issue. Okay, need to fix that. Yeah, parallax scrolling forever. But anyway, also the if you'll notice, if you look at this controller there, I can only move it in a square direction. I kind of want to fix that. I kind of want it to move in a fully circular pattern. But it actually squares out at the edges. But I kind of want to fix that at some point. We'll see. Anyway. Well, I think probably next from here, first of all, I gotta work out the few kinks that I have in the collision. Then after that, I might, let's see, probably I would really like to get started on like getting some other like AI characters in there and just play around with AI for a little while. It's really kind of where I want to go from here, but we'll see. Yeah. Also, Christopher Getman, the guy who did the music for Maze Quest 2, is he actually emailed me and said he kind of liked to work on a game again. So he's probably very likely going to be doing the music for this game too, which is kind of cool. The guy's very talented. All right, well, I've only done an hour of this, so I don't know. I think I ran out of things to say, but anyway, I will give you guys updates on this as we go for sure, and you can kind of follow the development process a little bit. Yeah, he's a really talented guy, and I don't think I really got out of him all that I could, because I didn't really have a lot of time to like let him work on the music. So, but this next time, I think we'll have him start on the music a lot earlier, and that. I mean, he could do some really good stuff. He's got some real talent there. In fact, he sent me some, like, where's that link that he sent me? Do I still have that? I don't know. He sent me a link to some of the stuff he did just for like a challenge or something like that. And he had some really, really great stuff there. So I'm looking forward to, working with that guy again. So, anyway, like I said, I will keep you guys posted on this because I will be working a lot on it. And, you know, if you guys have any suggestions or you want to become like, you know, you can become beta testers or something. We'll probably have some way for you guys to test things out. We're probably going to need some feedback at some point. So, you know, let us know. And I think that's probably all for today because I probably got to get to work on fixing those bugs there and got to go eat something. So anyway, all right. Thanks for showing up. By the way, guys, I'm going to move the streaming to the weekends because the weekdays I'm going to be probably having to work. So. Yeah, so we're going to move the streamings to weekends. So the next stream is actually going to be on Saturday, and that'll be Heroes of Might Magic. So, and then Sunday, I don't know what we'll do. We'll do probably something. Okay, see you guys. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for the support. And see you guys Saturday. Yeah, thanks. I'll need it.